Good morning, everyone. I, Dr. Nidhi Nalwaya, Associate Professor, Faculty of Commerce, Parul University, welcome you all in the series of research webinars at Parul University. I am delighted to share that till date we have successfully completed almost 15 webinars on research methodology as in the series, and the series would continue to enhance the research knowledge and skills amongst the early researchers to unlock more in-depth insights. The webinars here are being conducted with the express objective to understand the emerging trends and future implication of various dimensions in the research area. Today, we are conducting this webinar on a very important topic, that is test of significance. Statistical significance is the statistical assessment of whether the observation reflect a pattern rather than just a chance. When it is used in statistics, it is more important and because it allows researchers to hold a degree of confidence that their findings are real, reliable, and not due to the chance. I take the privilege to announce eminent guest speaker, Professor Shurvi Singh Bhanawat sir. He is working as a professor and head Department of Accountancy and Business Statistics, Mohanlal Sukhadia University, Udaipur. He is currently the director, MFC program, and also a founder convener of Bachelor of Vocation program, that is in the head of accounting, taxation, and auditing. He is also additional member, secretary of Self-Financing Advisory Board, Mohanlal Sukhadia University, Udaipur. Dr. Bhanawat draws upon 25 years of rich experience in teaching at graduate and a postgraduate level, and he is actively involved in research and consultancy projects. Professor Bhanawat has a unique perspective and valuable experience, particularly in the areas of accounting, taxation, auditing, and many more. In the series, he got the Best Research Paper Awards in Indian Accounting Conferences, international seminar organized at various universities ranging from Delhi University, Manipal University, Jayanarayan Vyas University, Punjab University as well. He has to have the credit of 48 research articles that have been published in journals of national and international repute. In the series, he has completed research projects work sponsored by ICSSR on social economic implication of carbon taxation as an exploratory study, and various other projects entitled determination of shareholders wealth as in quantitative analysis, which is sponsored by UGC and has completed in the years before. Right now, he is a principal invigilator for MHRD major projects titled Blockchain Accounting as a research. Sir, he is also authored books which are entitled like Business Statistics and Cost Accounting, which is published in different languages, Hindi and English in both version. And there are few more edited books he has in his account. He is also coordinator of National Accounting Talent Search of Indian Accounting Association and working as a secretary of Udaipur branch of Indian Accounting Association. Sir, I wholeheartedly welcome you from regard to PIC, Parul Institute of Commerce, and I hereby extend a warm welcome from Faculty of Commerce, Parul University. Welcome you, sir. I all the participants are requested to post the questions if you have during the webinar in the chat box, and we will be discussing the questions in the last 15 minutes of the session. So without taking a lot of time, students are eagerly looking forward to the session. So I hand over the session to you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Nidhi.
Thank you, sir.
Nalwaya, moderator of this webinar, and all the faculty members of Parul University, especially Faculty of Commerce, Parul Institute of Commerce. and Professor Uday Paliwal from Nirma University, and all the officials in absentia of the Parul University, and would like to convey my congratulations to Parul University for organizing such a nice webinar on test of significance of basic concepts. And I would like to convey my sincere thanks to all the officials and especially Faculty of Commerce to invite me for delivering the lecture on this topic and give a chance, and also thankful to the Parul, Dr. Nidhi Nalvaya, who has given a chance to interact with the students of Parul University. I think I would gain from the knowledge of the students, and it will be beneficial for me also during the interactions. So I thankful to the Parul University as well, and particularly Dr. Nidhi Nalvaya. Today I will discuss on a pertinent topic. I'm going to sharing my PPT. Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is. It is visible.
Okay. And now I'm on. Yes. Today we'll discuss about before we starting, I would give some opening remark regarding this topic. As you all are know, the validity of research work may be improved by using the statistical test. We do study on the basis of sample, not on the basis of universe. So at every time we are in the four corner of doubts, whether our research will be accepted by the society, whether our research will be accepted by the government officials or policy makers or not. Every time we are in confused, because our study is based on sample, not on based of universe. So in order to enhance the validity of our research result, we are using a statistical test. So basically, statistical tests provide a validity to your research work, whether your research work is acceptable or not. So in order to make a significance of your study, statistical tests are being used. But while I have experience of last 25 years, and we are many times go through the many PhD theses and research work, so many tests have been used by the researcher, but they do not know when a particular test should be used, because they are not aware about the basic terminologies which are being used while conducting the test. Because a lot of softwares are being used right now. We are using SPSS, we are using the StatCraft, we are using the Excel, and there are so many softwares available in the statistics. So we are putting the data in the computer and getting the result, and results are as it is reproduced in our thesis work. In many theses, I found there is no analysis of the tables. Softwares are being provided the results. Softwares are useful for your calculation, because in many statistical tests, especially in multivariate techniques, a tough calculation is required, a complex calculation is required. So we are getting the assistance of software. But the software play a vital role in calculation process, but software is not in position to analyze the things on which basis you are going to make a research. So the analysis is very important. The analysis is depend upon the statistical results, and you are in position to analyze the things only when you are very much clear about the basic concepts of the test of significance. You are very much clear about the basic concepts of the tests we are using. So today, my lecture is divided into 3 parts. First, I would like to analyze, I would like to clear the concept of the test of significance. What are the terminologies are being used in testing of significance? And then I will discuss about the parametric and non-parametric test, when the test should be used. I will not go in the depth of the parametric test, but I will give you a concept about in what circumstances parametric and non-parametric test should be used. And finally, we'll discuss about all these topics, and discuss interaction. We'll make a question answer round. So now comes to the point. Just a minute. Yes. There are several terminologies are being used while making a testing of significance. What is the population or universe? What is sample? What is the parameter? What is the statistic? What is the hypothesis? What are the errors in testing the hypothesis? What is level of significance? What is the critical value? What is the p-value? What is the standard error? One-tenth or two-tenth? So many other terminologies are being used. So I will explain all these terminologies through taking a research procedure. I will explain two things simultaneously. Number one, I will explain all these terminologies. Number two, these terminologies will be explained through process of research, what we are doing in research, why research has been done by the researcher. In that situation, I will explain all this terminology in the sequence of process of research. Now comes to the point. The first of all, the researcher confront with the world population. What is the population? What is the universe? You should define in your research work before starting the research. First of all, you have to decide the population. Population means the total area of research in which a particular researcher wants to make a research. That means the word population is a relative word, and the word population belongs to a particular researcher. In a universe way, the term population cannot be defined, because the population is the total research area of a particular researcher. That means the total units or total items of a particular population is depend upon the researcher. So first of all, the researcher has to define the total area of the research in which he wants to make a research. That is population. The population is a total area of research. So first of all, the researcher has to define the word population. So I think, is it clear? The population is the total area of research. Suppose that being a researcher, I would like to make a research on the library of Parul University. In library, I would make a research whether their reference books are there, or textbooks are there, or theses are there, or journals are there. In that situation, I would make a research about the best library of the Parul University. Then Parul University library becomes my population. Number two, if I would like to make a research between the Parul University and Nirma University, I take the two library of Parul University and Nirma University. Now I would make to compare this. Now the population becomes Parul and Nirma University library becomes the population. Now I make it.
Should we, sir?
Research.
Sorry to interrupt you, but you are not audible properly, sir.
The word population is defined the total area So what was the problem? Now, Nidhi, now is it audible?
Yeah, yes, sir. Now you're audible, sir.
So from where I am not audible,
No, sir.
just I get.
Last few seconds was not audible. Otherwise, it's fine.
Okay. Now it is clear.
Yes, sir. It's clear. Sir, it's clear.
Any difference regarding the size? The size of population does not matter. So again, it's depend upon the researcher in order to define the world population or universe. So I think it is clear. Now, there are two types of population. One is the finite population and second is the infinite population. If the number of items in the population are fixed, we can count, we can identify it. That is a finite population. Number of books in a library, we can identify. Number of poor person in a particular country, we can identify. Finite population. But in case of infinite population, the number of items in a population is not countable. Infinite is there. Suppose I would like to make a research in this relating to stars. Then we cannot count the stars. Suppose I would like to make a research for indefinitely I toss the coin and indefinitely and the results are noted there. Then when any type, if infinite means the number of items are not fixed in the population, then that would be infinite population. So first you have to identify whether finite population is there or infinite population there, because the selection of test, the selection of formula will depend upon the selection of the population. If finite population is there, the formula would be different, and the infinite population is there, the formula would be different. So you have to identify whether your population is finite or infinite. Now, once you have been identified the population, now you have to make a study regarding the population. In order to make a study, in order to make a research for the population, there are two popular methods are being used. Number one is the census method and second is the sample method. In case of census method, each and every unit of the population is being studied by the researcher. No unit is left. 100% study is there. That is census method. In every interval of 10 years, population census method is being used. So in case of census method, each and every unit of population is being studied by the researcher. So the result of research is 100%. Correct? There is no doubt about the result. Or in that situation, no need to apply any test. No statistical tests are required. Sometimes suppose that the population of your library of Parul University, and just imagine there are 1 lakh books in the Parul University library, and you are touching every book and then getting a result, then there is no doubt about the result. Result is perfect. Now, no test is required. So one point must be clear in your mind. Sometimes the students are taking the whole population as a study, as a whole population is taken as a sample, then no need to apply any test. While applying the census method, it is a time consuming, it is a cost consuming, or results are coming very delayed. So census method is not appropriate. Or there are some situation in which census method cannot be applied. Suppose that there is a movement of population elements. The elements of populations are moving. Just suppose that I would like to make a research about the fish, snakes. How will count it? They are moving elsewhere. In that condition, census method is not appropriate. Number two, if infinite population is there, how will make any research? Then census method cannot be applied. It is a cost consuming, time consuming. Suppose that star plus a channel is there. He would like to make a survey about their serials. Which serial is most popular among Indian citizens? So there are 135 crore populations in India. But suppose that you just imagine only one question is being asked to every citizen of India. If this serial do you like, it will take 2 to 3 years or 4 years, and it becomes very costly affairs. Suppose that if only 10 paisa is incurred for a one respondent, then you just multiply 135 into 0.10, it comes in crores. That means how much? That means 13 crore has been spent for getting the answer only for which serial is like, only in order to making the 100% accuracy. It is not desirable. It is a time consuming. Or suppose that it takes 3 years, or up to 3 years, so many serials will be discontinued on the channel. Then the relevance of the research will be lost. So time is very important factor. Cost is very important factor. So census method is not appropriate. Or sometimes the elements, the observations requires description. Suppose that a manufacturing industry is there, it produces the matchboxes. Or suppose that census method is there, then you will check every matchbox, then entire loss would be there. So it is quite impossible for census method. So here, one thing is very much clear. Census method is not appropriate for getting the results, especially when the population is infinite, especially when the elements of the populations are moving, especially when maximum costs are incurred or observations require instructions. In all such circumstances, census method is not required. So what is the alternate? The alternate is sample. Now comes to the sample. Sample is being taken from the population. This is the population. You just see the, are you seeing my PPT is visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible, clearly visible.
Okay. This is the population, just here, this is the populations. Now in population, different types of elements are there because the population consists different characteristics items, different size of items, and having a different quality of the products. So population is the mixture of different types of elements. So one sample is to be taken in order to make a study. Suppose that in population, 1 lakh books are there. In Parul University, 1 lakh books are there. But out of only 100 books are taken as a sample. You just take a sample of 100 books. Now you make a study. That means you make a study on 100 books. Then the time will be very less, cost will be very less, result will be quickly, because the results we will get result quickly. So no time, no cost consumed. But the negative point is that in case of sample, 100% accuracy is not there, because in the population 1 lakh books are there. In sample only 100 books are there. We are studying only 100 books and getting the results, and these results are imposed on population of 1 lakh books. How it is reliable? How is it reliable? That's the basic question. But as far as time is concerned, very less time is consumed, very less cost is consumed, results are quickly we can be identified. But as far as accuracy level is concerned, we are doubt. So in order to remove this doubt, we are using a statistical test. And right now, so many statistical tests are available in the statistics, which claims 99.73% accuracy. 99.73%, just like 100%. So if the result of sample is accurate by 99.73%, so that means we are so confident that our population results will be good. On one side, we are making the study of 1 lakh books and only 100 books, and 100 books results can be imposed in 1 lakh. Then cost is very less, time is very less, resources are not consumed there. and quick result is there. So in order to make our sample study as good as 99.73%, process is to be adopted. So I think two word is very much clear: population and sample. But here I would like to explain 2 or 3 points also. While taking the sample, if you want to make, in order to make a accuracy level at 99.73%, then your population should be unbiased. Your population should be, sorry, sample should be unbiased, or random sample should be there. Because we are getting the results from sample and imposing on the population. It is also called as statistical inference, statistical induction. What is the statistical inference? On the basis of sample results, we are getting the sample, we are getting the result of population. That means on the basis of sample, we are moving towards the population. We are moving towards the universe. So that is known as statistical inference. So one word is being used in the statistics while making a test of significance: statistical inference. Statistical inference means moving from sample to population. But here, 2 points also must be clear. One is the parameter and second is the statistic. I have written here just like a parameter and a statistic. What is the parameter? Any statistical measurement of population. It may be arithmetic mean, it may be standard deviation, it may be regression, it may be correlation. Any statistical measurement about the population is known as parameter, and parameter is denoted by theta. So if you are calculating the arithmetic mean of 1 lakh books in the library, any items, it may be a height, may be measurable, not on the situation, on the population. So any statistical measurement, if we are in position to count and we are in position to calculate the arithmetic mean, then it is called parameter, or parameter is noted by theta. And any statistical measurement of sample, is called statistic. You just avoid S, and statistic is known as any statistical measurement of sample. So if you are calculating the arithmetic mean of sample, it will call statistic. If you are calculating the arithmetic mean of population, is called parameter. So any statistical measurement of sample is known as a statistic, and a statistic is denoted by small t. But in case of infinite population, we are not in position to calculate the parameter. We just take in one example here in order to clarify the word parameter and statistic. Suppose that there are 8 lakh companies in pharmaceutical industry. Now I would like to want to calculate the average sales of these. So 8 lakh units in India. So our population becomes 8 lakh units. Now I am getting the sales of 8 lakh units. Get the total, divide by 8 lakh, it comes average sales of population. Okay. Now, so that is called parameter. Now I have taken a sample of 30 units only. Just imagine 8 lakh units are there and 30 units have been taken into account, and I am getting the arithmetic mean of sales of 30 units. It is called statistic. I think it is clear. So number of items in population is noted by capital N, and in sample is small n. The mean of the population denoted by mu, and it is denoted by x bar, or standard deviation small sigma, or s for sample, and for proportion capital P is being used for the parameter and small p is being used for sample. So while you are implement any software, you should aware about these notations. If we are using the capital N, that means we are talking about the population size. We are not talking about the sample size. So I think parameter and statistic is clear. Now, so on the basis of statistic, we are getting the results of parameter. Suppose the infinite population is there. So that means we do not have any parameter. But we would like to get the parameter of the population. Then what is the alternative? Alternative is only sampling. So you have to find the sample, calculate the arithmetic mean, and this arithmetic mean would be imposed on a population as a parameter. So it is called statistical inference. Now comes to the next point. So I think three terminology very much clear. What is the population is clear, sample is clear, statistic is clear, parameter is clear. But while taking the sample, you should aware, because I am talking here 99.73% accuracy level. 99.73% accuracy level. It can be derived only when if sample is a random sample. One point must be clear in your mind. The sample should be a random sample, otherwise your test will not apply. Or if random sample is not there, so certain test is available, because there are two types of test, non-parametric test, then we'll go on non-parametric test, but the power of non-parametric test is less as compared to parametric test. We'll discuss later on. But now come here, while taking the sample, you should keep in your mind 2-3 points. Number one, the sample should be a random sample. And number two, it should be a representative of the population. The sample should not be biased. Once a sample is biased, in that condition, your results will be not accurate. So sample should be random. Now, question is arise, how to take the random sample? So there are several sampling methods are available based on random sampling methods, non-random sampling method. I will not go in this depth. Random sampling method, simple random is there, distributed random sampling is there, systematic sampling there. So many methods are there, but you should keep in your mind the random sampling should be there, or out of random sampling, random numbers can be used. So here I would like to share with you, in Excel sheet, you can generate the random number. You just write equal to RAND, bracket open, bracket close. Equal to RAND, bracket open, bracket close. Thus, this formula appear in any Excel row, then click, you will get the random numbers of your sample units, of your population units. Then you select the random sample. So, there are several methods are available. So, but here the most important point is that the sample should be a random sample. But here, there are 2 points are there, parametric and statistic. So any difference between parameter and statistic is known as sampling error. One word is also used, sampling error. What is the sampling error? So sampling error means the difference. Here error means not mistakes committed by the researcher. No, at all. Here error does not mean by mistake. Error is just like the difference between parameter and statistic. The difference between parameter and statistic is called sampling error. The true value and estimated value, because the statistic is a estimated value or parameter is a true value. But sometimes parameter is not given. In that condition, we also calculate true value on the basis of sample. So the difference between true value and estimated value, or we can say difference between statistic and parameter, is known as sampling error. Or such error is occurred due to 2 reasons. Number one, due to an error in observation, analysis, and processing of data. That is called non-sampling error. Or if it is occurred due by chance, by random, this is called a sampling error. So sampling error is occurred by chance, randomly. So now comes to the point. There are 2 important objectives of sample. Participants, you are comfortable with me?
So many of the research scholars are here and they are listening to it. No issues, sir.
Okay. Any query in the chat box?
Still not there, but I'll put the query soon because I have one to query from the Facebook page, sir.
Okay. So I finish, then I will try and solve the. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So why we are taking the sample? Now this is the question. This is the important point. Why we are taking the sample? So there are two important objective of sample. One is the estimation, and second is the testing the hypothesis. One more point I would like to explain here. Why sample is very important? Why 99.73% accuracy is there? There are two principles are playing here. Number one principle is law of statistical regularity. According to law of statistical regularity, thus if the two certain conditions are satisfied, then sample has all the characteristics, all the properties which having a population. That means sample is a true representation of the population. If two conditions are satisfied, the size of sample is large and random sample is there. So if random sample is there, large sample is there, then law of statistical regularity is working. So as per the law of statistical regularity, all the sample having the same quality, same properties as which having a population. So sample is, we are saying that there is an accuracy level of 99.73%. How I derive this 99.73%, I will explain later on. Okay, now comes to the point. There are two important objectives of samples. Number one is the estimation. Why we are taking the sample? We are taking the sample to make an estimation regarding the parameters. Sometimes infinite population is there. Sometimes infinite population is there. In that situation, parameter is not there. So we have to estimate the parameters. Sometimes parameter is there, but parameter is very old. Suppose 10 years back, parameters has been decided. And now we have to take the decision. So you have to revise the parameters. In that situation, sample is also being used in order to identify the parameters. The first objective of sample, why we are making the research. I am talking with reference to statistical test only. I'm not talking about the theoretical research. Suppose that you are making a research in Hindi literature. There also test can be applied, but the modus operandi of research would be different. In social science would be different. I'm talking today in relation with the statistical methods. Okay. So what we are taking the sample? We are taking the sample only for two objectives. Number one, estimation. Estimation means estimate the parameter on the basis of a statistic. Suppose that there is a 5,000 students are working in Parul University. Out of 5,000, 3,000 girls are there and 2,000 are boys. Out of 3,000 girls, I have taken a sample of 40 girls. A sample of 40 girls out of 3,000 I have taken. And I measured the height of all 40 girls. Then I get average of height. Suppose it comes 62 inch. That means 5 feet 2 inch is the average. I have taken a sample from the population. The population size is 5,000, but out of 5,000, 3,000 are girls and 2,000 are boys. So it is my population. So my population is only 3,000 girls because I would like to make a research only on girls. The population will be 3,000 girls. Out of 3,000, 40 sample is being taken. So 40 is my sample. Then I measure the 40 students, 40 girls height and divide in sum. I got 5.2 inch. That means the average height of sample is 5.2 inch. Now I estimate, can I say the average height of my sample is 5 foot 2 inch? So can I say the average height of the girl in the Parul University having a 5 feet 2 inch? If I say like this is the estimation regarding the population. We'll discuss whether this estimation is correct or not, whether logical or not. We'll discuss later on. Here, I would like to explain only terminology. So, one is estimation is being made in point estimation. Single estimation. The single estimation means the result of sample is imposed. The results of samples are imposed on population is the estimation. So there are two types of estimation. Number one is the point estimation. Second is the interval estimation. Under the point estimation, single estimation is there. Now just see, the average height of sample is 5 foot 2 inch. Then I say the average height of a girl who is studying the Powell University is 5 foot 2 inch. Is it okay? There's a doubt, because there are 3,000 girls and your research is being made only on 40 girls. How can you say? There is a doubt about the result. So especially in social science, we are avoiding the point estimation. We are using interval estimation. But in a pure science, suppose that any chemical reaction is to be studied, then you can make a point estimation. It may be correct, but it may not be correct because the sample is there. Because you are making a study of the 40 girls and there are 3,000 girls are there. How can you impose the result of 40 girls on 3,000 girls? So point estimation is not preferable. But point estimation is also objective of sample, or sometimes there is no parameters that are there, then point estimation will be there. Number two, interval estimation. What is the interval estimation? Interval estimation, you just see, I'm writing here. Interval estimation means you will get two limits. Suppose that, I write here, mean. Suppose that mean has been calculated, then plus minus T standard error. Now come to the point. So there are two objectives of the sample. Number one is the estimation and second is the testing the hypothesis. We are discussing about the estimation. One is the point estimation. Just I say point estimation is not preferable in social science, but again it depends upon the nature of research. Whether it is applicable or not, it depends on the particular nature of research. But there is one object is there, point estimation. So what is point estimation? I think you are clear. Now I am explaining what is interval estimation. What is in case of interval estimation, we are getting two limits, upper limit and lower limits. We are getting two limits, upper limit and lower limits. Suppose that here just see the here in our example.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, we are unable to see the slides changing. I mean,
you are not this, but some terminologies are there. The
Sir?
parameter, you are not visible the slide.
sir, the slide number 3 is visible right now.
Three is going on. I am explaining.
All right, sir. Fine, sir.
So I am writing. You are visible.
Yes, sir. It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just I am explaining here all the things. Okay.
Fine, sir.
Because we are discussing about the terminologies which are being used.
Right, sir.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Now.
And there are still 2-3 questions if we can take in between, sir.
You can ask first question, then you go up.
One of the scholar is asking, is the significance test is always necessary? I mean, he's an early researcher, so he wanted to know, is the significance test always necessary?
Okay. Dear students, we are coming on test of significance after explaining these terminologies, but you have asked the question, I would like to clear here. Significance is necessary if you have been generated a hypothesis, then you have to decide whether hypothesis is accept or reject. So you have to apply the statistical test in order to make a test of significance. So significance is required only when hypothesis is there or sample is there. But if sample is not there, hypothesis is not there, your theoretical research is there, then no need to apply the significance test.
All right, sir. All right. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Another question is, how can I test comparative hypothesis?
I am coming the next point, testing.
All right,
I
sir.
will
Fine,
explain.
sir. Fine, sir.
Up now, if you have any question regarding the population, regarding the parameter, regarding the statistical interference, regarding the sample, you can raise the question. I am coming to test hypothesis. In detail, I will discuss about the hypothesis. No, don't worry. Now, the two objective of sample. So we are talking about the point estimation and interval estimation. So interval estimation is more reliable than point estimation. What is the reason? Because here two limits are being assessed, upper limit and lower limit. You just see here we have taken a example of Parul University and we got 62 is the mean height. Okay, in 62 inch, you just add and less 3 standard error. Suppose that what is 3, what is standard error, I will explain. 3 standard error. Suppose the standard error is 1.5. 1.5. Just see. So 62 plus minus 3 into 1.5. So 3 into 1.5 is 4.5. So we once first you add, you will get 66.5. Okay, and 57.5. So there are two limits. 66.5 and 57.5. Now comes to the point. This is the interval estimation. A sample is being taken or sample ke basis par you have calculate interval estimation. So there are two terminologies are there. Upper limit is 66.5 and lower limit is 57.5. Now I would say the mean of my sample is 62 inch, but I can say 99.73% confidence with 99.73 confidence that any girl who is studying in the Nirmal University having a height in between 66.5 and 57.5. The girls who will identify having a height more than 66.5 and less than 57.5 having only 0.27%. This is the very good estimation. That means हमने क्या किया? We have identified two limits. कि our sample में 62 inch, लेकिन और पारुल यूनिवर्सिटी में पढ़ने वाली लड़की के किसी की भी average height do not differ, lies in between 57.5 to 66.5. This is the point interval estimation. So in case of interval estimation, upper limit and lower limit is being identified. But here there are two important points are there. What is 3 and what is standard error? What is 3 and what is standard error? So first I am explain the concept of 3. Why I am using 3? Can't use 2, can't use 1. First I want to explain this point. Then we'll discuss what is standard error. Then we'll go further. When we are using the 3 times of standard error, it indicates 99.73%. But if you are using 2 times, then 95.45%. And if you are using 1 time of
Sir, should we, sir?
error, it comes 68. Nidhi?
Yeah, your voice got stuck in between, so I just spoke in between. It's fine, sir. Now it's audible. So still your voice is not clear.
Now my another okay. Now voice is clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is. It is. So I think there's a network issue. Still, the voice is not clear.
Okay. The connection just Nidhi, audible?
Yes, sir.
Now audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible.
Okay. Now I have shifted the connection from Wi-Fi to my mobile. Okay, Jio connection there. Okay.
All
Now,
right, sir. Okay.
okay. I think now it will be clear. The PPT is visible. Determination of critical value.
Yes, sir. It is visible, sir. Please do continue,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you. Now comes the point. We're just asking here why three word is being used. So there are two important objective of sampling. One is the estimation, second is the testing the hypothesis. As far as interval estimation is concerned, the mean plus minus 3 standard error. So why we are using 3, why we are using 2, why using 1, and how can I claim about 99.73%? For this purpose, I'm just going to clarify this point. You just see this slide. This is the normal distribution. Okay. As you know very well, the central point of this normal distribution is known as mean. And suppose that if we are adding one time of standard deviation and deduct one time of standard deviation, we will get two limits. And it covers 68.27% items of the entire sample. And if we add two times standard deviation and deduct two times standard deviation, it comes 95.45%. And if we add three times standard deviation or deduct three times standard deviation, it covers 99.73%. But just comes to the point, this is the theoretical. Now we just take a live example. Standard deviation, a certain times of standard deviation is being added or a certain times of standard deviation is deducted, you will get two limits. And as you all are clear, standard deviation is being used to calculate the variance in the data, variation in the data. The perfect calculation for the perfect measurement of statistics is standard deviation. If you would like to calculate the variation in the data, standard deviation is the best. Suppose that we just take an example. I am going to continue that particular example again. Suppose I have taken a 40 girls as a sample from the Parul University. 40 girls are there. I have measured this height of the 40 students, 40 girls. Then I write down frequency distribution. मैंने बना लिया. Now I calculate the arithmetic mean and I calculate the standard deviation. Suppose the arithmetic mean is 62 inch. And on the same data, I apply the standard deviation and the standard deviation comes, suppose that 0.5. What is the meaning of 0.5? 0.5 is standard deviation. Now, mean is 62, standard deviation is 0.5. तो 62 में आप 0.5 को ऐड करिए, it will come 62.5. 0.5 को घटाइए 61.5. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? The 68% girls having a height in between 61.5 and 62.5. अब मान लीजिए सपोज दैट 0.5 का 2 टाइम्स करिए 1, 62 में 1 ऐड करिए, you will get 63. 1 घटाइए 61. But that means 95.4% girls having a height in between 61 and 63. और यदि मैं 3 टाइम्स को ऐड और लेस कर देता हूं, it comes 99.73%. That means आपके उस सीरीज के अंदर आपके 40 बच्चों में से 99.73% गर्ल्स उन दोनों लिमिट के बीच में आ जाएगी। इसलिए whenever you are using 3 times it claims 99.73% accuracy. तो वी आर यूजिंग 1 2 3 whatever, तो मीन में आप 3 टाइम्स स्टैंडर्ड एरर को 8 और लेस कर देंगे, यू विल गेट 2 लिमिट्स। सो 3 टाइम्स यदि 8 लेस कर रहे हैं तो 99.73% की एक्यूरेसी वी कैन क्लेम, बशर्ते the sample is random sample and sample is truly represent the population. In that situation your answer would be correct. So there are 2 types of. Now comes to the second point, what is standard error? Now comes to the point. Here error does not mean mistakes. Standardization of error. Error means the difference between the parameter and the statistic is a sampling error. This error may be occurred due to chance or due to major reason. Now this error is to be computed. How computed standard error? How to compute? The standard error, whenever you compute the standard error, so you have to identify the standard deviation of sampling distribution of a statistic is called standard error. You just take a sample method, and in simple language, the standard deviation of sampling distribution of a statistic. Statistics means any statistical measurement of sample is a statistic. So the standard deviation of sampling distribution of a statistic is called standard error. Now comes to the point how it would be calculated. I just taken a live example. Suppose that in population 500 items are there, and we are taking the sample of 20 units. You take 2 sample, 3 sample. How many samples can be taken? NCN, n factorial upon n minus n, n factorial. These samples can be taken from the population. Suppose that you have taken 4 samples. Then you calculate the arithmetic mean of all 4 samples. So that means 4 samples are there, 4 arithmetic mean is there. Then again you calculate the standard deviation of arithmetic mean is a standard error. Standard error is nothing, it's just like a standard deviation, because error occurred due to variation, and standard deviation is the only measure, only technique which measure the variations. So you identify the sampling distribution, then sampling distribution of any statistic. The statistic may be arithmetic mean, maybe standard deviation, maybe mean, maybe median, any standard measurement. Then calculate the standard deviation of that is called as standard error. So standard error is defined in every test in different way. So standard error for proportion, standard error for mean, standard error for 2 means that different formula are being used to calculate the standard error. So as far as testing of significance is concerned, the standard error is being calculated by applying the formula. Every test having a different formula, but here you just see standard error means standard deviation of sampling distribution of any statistic. किसी भी स्टैटिस्टिक का सैम्पलिंग डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन तैयार करिए और सैम्पलिंग डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन का यदि आपने मीन निकाल दिया तो वो आपका स्टैंडर्ड एरर आ जाएगा। तो स्टैंडर्ड डिवीजन ऑफ सैम्पलिंग डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऑफ स्टैटिस्टिक इज नोन एज इट्स स्टैंडर्ड एरर। इट प्रोवाइड द मेजरमेंट ऑफ वेरिएशन ऑफ स्टैटिस्टिक फ्रॉम पैरामीटर। क्योंकि एरर कब आती है? जब देयर इज अ डिफरेंस बिटवीन पैरामीटर एंड स्टैटिस्टिक। इन दोनों बीच में डिफरेंस आता है तो हम स्टैंडर्ड एरर को कैलकुलेट करते हैं। So in that situation, so standard error, I think standard error is very much clear. So standard error is a standard deviation of statistic. Statistic का standard error निकाल दीजिए, वो standard error आपको कैलकुलेट करना होगा, वही आपका standard error है। अब उस error का 2 times, 3 times, 1 times आप एडलेस करेंगे, you will get 2 limits. अब 3 करना चाहिए, 2 करना चाहिए, 1 करना चाहिए, इट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द लेवल ऑफ सिग्निफिकेंस। हम आगे बात करेंगे, अभी बताएंगे व्हाट इज लेवल ऑफ सिग्निफिकेंस। तो आई थिंक इट इज क्लियर, द फर्स्ट ऑब्जेक्टिव आई थिंक क्लियर, द फर्स्ट ऑब्जेक्टिव ऑफ सैंपल इज एस्टिमेशन। इट वुड बी आइदर पॉइंट एस्टिमेशन और इंटरवल एस्टिमेशन। ओके, इन केस ऑफ इंटरवल एस्टिमेशन you just calculate 2 limits, upper limit and lower limit, then complain. If I am using 3, then you will claim for 99.73%. If I'm using 2, you claim for 95.45%. Or suppose I'm using 1.96, then 95%. Using 2.58, that is 99%. So basically, these are the critical values. What is the 3? What is the basically 3 is the critical value of the particular level of significance. So I'm going to explain what is critical value, what is level of significance. Now, I think, is it clear what is Snell error? So there are two important functions of Snell error. One is determining the limits of parameter and second is the testing the hypothesis. मैं आगे explain कर रहा हूं उसको. Now comes to the second point. I think first point is clear. Estimation is the basic objective of the sample. Now come to the testing the hypothesis. Maybe any question is there?
No, sir. It's clear, sir. Very well said, sir. It's
Okay,
clear.
very good. The language is understandable?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the testing of hypothesis is the second objective. Now, but first clear what is the meaning of hypothesis. What is hypothesis? Now we have to check it. Hypothesis is nothing just like a general statement regarding the population. Any estimation regarding the population is a hypothesis. But there are two types of hypothesis. One is the null hypothesis, second is the alternate hypothesis. But first to clear, whenever you are taking the sample, then you have some observation, you have some point in your mind, why would you like to make a research? आप research क्यों कर रहे हैं? Because you have a question, a research question in your mind regarding the population. If you do not have any research question in your mind, then research is not required. You are doing the research because you have a question, you have a research question, research problem in your mind. If the research problem is defined in a particular language as a status quo, that is called as hypothesis. A statistical hypothesis is some assumption, some statement which may or may not be true. It may be true, may be false about the population, or any estimation regarding the population, any statement regarding the population is a hypothesis. So hypothesis is just like a research problem which have been developed in your mind. So before going for research, you have to develop the hypothesis. I can say a statistical hypothesis is some assumption. I again repeat, it's very important point. Because we are not clear about the null hypothesis and null or alternate hypothesis and how to denote it, we just clear. So see here, a statistical hypothesis is some assumption or some statements which may or may not be true. वो सही भी हो सकते हैं और गलत भी हो सकते हैं. किसके बारे में कर रहे हैं? About the population or equivalently about the probability distribution characterizing the given population which we want to test on the basis of evidence from the random sample. यानी random sample के बेस पर जो evidence आया है उनके बेसिस पर हम population के बारे में जो हमने statement दिया है उसको टेस्ट करना चाहते हैं, वो that statement, that is hypothesis. This hypothesis may be a simple hypothesis or composite hypothesis. If the hypothesis completely specify the population, if any hypothesis completely specify about the population, then it is known as simple hypothesis. It is known, or otherwise it is known as composite hypothesis. Just take an example. I take an example. There is no difference between parameter and statistic. Specifically, I am saying regarding this parameter and statistic, there is no difference. That means null hypothesis is parameter is just equal to statistic, mu is just equal to mean, and the distribution, the variance of population is just equal to sample, is known as simple hypothesis. But if I say like this, if the study is not equal to parameter, there is null hypothesis, also known as composite hypothesis. Now comes to another classification. One is the null hypothesis and second is the alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis means, what do you mean by null hypothesis? Null means void means zero. We just assume there is no difference between parameter and statistic, but still visible difference is there. Suppose that you just take an example. The Parul University claims in our MBA student 95% placement is there. Parul University claims 95% placements are there. Or suppose that 3,000 MBA students are studying there. This is the claim of the Parul University, this is the parameter. Now I would like to check it, whether 95% is correct or not. I have taken a 10 student sample and I identify only 90% students are placed. Now that's very important point. 95% is claiming by the Parul University, but my result, my sample results show 90%. Okay, now I would like to test whether 90% is correct or not. But before applying the test, you have make a statement. You will give a statement that there is no difference between 95% and 90%. अब आप यहाँ कहेंगे the visible difference is there. 5% difference और आप कैसे कह रहे हैं? But still you will assume there is no significant difference because difference is there. But most important thing is there, the difference is significant or not. That's very important point. क्योंकि इतना difference तो आएगा. Because 95% is claiming by Parul University, their assumption, their claim based on 3,000 students. But my assumption or my calculation is based only on 10 students. The difference to aayega. But most important point is that the difference is significant or not. That is very important. So in order to identify difference significant or not, if the difference significant aata hai, we'll say the claim of Parul University is wrong. वो जो कह रहे हैं वो गलत कह रहे हैं, 90% ही प्लेसमेंट हो रहा है. और यदि significant difference नहीं आता है, there is no significant difference. So that means the claim of Parul University and the sample unit is okay. The 95% is okay. मेरा 90% आया है, वो difference किसी random reason की वजह से आया है. So before starting this research, you have to make an hypothesis. एक hypothesis आपको develop करनी होगी. मैं एक और example आपके साथ share करना चाहूंगा. You just see one more example. Suppose that a fruit seller claims, if you are buying the fruits from my shop, that 95% fruits would be non-defective. Only defective fruits would be only 5%. Defective fruits would be only 5%. And if more than 5% defective items have been identified, which you bought from which you buy from your shop, will give 1 lakh price. This is claim a fruit seller claim कर रहा है. Just try to understand. मैं just examples ले दे रहा हूँ कि you can identify the importance of significance. Fruit seller है, वो कह रहा है कि if you are buying the fruits from our shop, 95% fruits are good quality and defective goods would be only 5%. लेकिन यदि आप हमारे यहाँ से परचेज करते हैं and you find more than 5% defective apples, defective fruits, will give 1 lakh price. 1 lakh रुपए का इनाम देंगे. And the large hoardings are displayed in the cities, on the prominent places of city. Now, being a teacher, being a researcher, I would like to test this hypothesis. So I go to the fruit seller and I buy a cartoon of the apple. A cartoon मैंने purchase किया apple का that contains 500 apples. I buy और मैं घर पे आया. Then I identify out of 500, 30 apples were defective. You just imagine 500 items are there, 500 apples are there, or 30 apples, so that means it comes 6% defective. Now fruit seller claim कितना करता है? 5%. वो कहता है if the defective items are more than 5%, हम आपको 1 लाख रुपए का प्राइस देंगे, विल गिव 1 लाख प्राइस. मैं उस एक रिसर्चर और मैंने कहा you just see 6% defective apples are there, you have to give me 1 lakh rupees. That fruit seller refused to me, मना कर दिया उसने कि सर the difference would be there, 1% difference तो आएगा सर, because you have calculated the defective items on 500 apples and I have a 5 lakh apples in my stock, so I am claiming on 5 lakh apples and you are identifying only 500, the difference to aayega. So you are not entitled to get reward, you are not entitled to get 1 lakh rupees. मैं कोर्ट में चला जाता हूं, कंज्यूमर कोर्ट में चला गया, कोर्ट में गया एंड आई क्लेम कि क्योंकि 6% इज देयर, उसके होर्डिंग्स लगा रखे हैं, 5% इज देयर, ये बिल्कुल आप समझने की कोशिश करिएगा. 6% डिफेक्टिव आया तो आई एम एंटाइटल्ड टू गेट द प्राइस फॉर दिस 1 लाख, मुझे 1 लाख मिलना चाहिए इस क्लेम के साथ में, बिकॉज आई डू नॉट हैव ए नॉलेज ऑफ स्टैटिस्टिक्स. सो मैंने कहा कि आपको 1 लाख देना होगा. देन आई वेंट टू द कोर्ट. तो कोर्ट जज साहब क्या कहते हैं, व्हाट द जज टोल्ड, first you have to identify the difference between 5% and 6% significant or not, first to calculate, then come to the court. If difference is significant, then fruit seller is liable to pay rupees 1 lakh. If difference is not significant, the fruit seller is not liable to pay the 1 lakh rupees. That's the so importance of test of significance. Because I have taken a sample of 500 apples only, and they have a 5 lakh apples. But the most important point is that the difference is tolerable or not, difference is acceptable or not, whether the difference is due to random reason or not, that's very important point. If difference is due to major reason, then their defective is there. So first of all, you have to frame the hypothesis. I'm coming to the next point, how to test the test of significance. Here, I'm talking about the hypothesis. So first you have to take a null hypothesis. Null hypothesis means zero difference. So while you are taking the sample of fruit, then you take an example, there is a no significant difference between 5% and 6%. Both are equal. I will write like this, 5% is just equivalent to 6%. This is called null hypothesis. Now it has to be tested. Now you have to apply a statistical test. And then apply the test, then find difference is significant or not. Our work is started from this point. So first you have to assume there is no significant difference, still visible difference is there. हमें नजर आ रहा है यहाँ 5% है, 6% है, 1% का difference. But dear students, it's very important the difference is significant or not. If difference is significant, इसको टेस्ट कैसे करेंगे, इसके लिए हम टेस्टिंग हाइपोथेसिस लगाएंगे, अभी हम इसके टेस्ट हम बताएंगे. तो नाउ आई विल एक्सप्लेन हियर द वर्ड ऑफ हाइपोथेसिस. आई थिंक हाइपोथेसिस इज क्लियर. नल हाइपोथेसिस. तो व्हाइल यू आर मेकिंग अ नल हाइपोथेसिस, ऑलवेज टेकिंग एज नो डिफरेंस, बट स्टिल विजिबल डिफरेंस इज देयर, बट स्टिल यू एज्यूम नो डिफरेंस इज देयर. जब तक वो डिफरेंस सिग्निफिकेंट नहीं आ जाता है तब तक हम नहीं मान सकते हैं. एंड स्टेटस को यानी आज की डेट में जो है, न्यूट्रल रहिए. सपोज द डॉक्टर क्लेम्स कि आप हमारी टैबलेट लीजिए, द बीपी विल कंट्रोल, द ब्लड प्रेशर विल कंट्रोल. द फर्स्ट टाइम द ड्रग इज बीइंग इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इन द मार्केट एंड डॉक्टर सेज यू अप्लाई, क्या हम इसको विश्वास करेंगे? हम चेक करना चाहते हैं. देन वी हैव टू क्रिएट अ हाइपोथेसिस द ड्रग इज नॉट इफेक्टिव. हाउ कैन यू से ड्रग इज इफेक्टिव? नॉट इफेक्टिव. फर्स्ट देन we take a sample and check it. So in case of null hypothesis, always taking is no difference, and saying no difference is being taken, okay, or the decision maker should always adopt the neutral or null attitude. ये बहुत important point मैं आपको बता रहा हूं. While formulation of hypothesis, the researcher should always adopt the neutral or null attitude regarding the outcome of sample. सैंपल का जो आउटकम्स आ रहा है उसमें आप न्यूट्रल रहे, बायस मत बनिए और स्टेटस को अडॉप्ट करिए, तो वो नल हाइपोथेसिस बन जाएगी। और जब आप हाइपोथेसिस को डेवलप करते हैं तो 2-3 पॉइंट्स मस्ट कीप इन योर माइंड। whenever you are create the hypothesis, तो express hypothesis or claim has to be tested in the symbolic form। आप symbolic form में लिखें h naught, the subscript of h is 0, is known as h naught। तो whenever you are claiming you are framing the hypothesis, write h naught equal to this। तो symbolic form, right? Symbolic form of in the thesis, in the original claim of hypothesis is not true, okay? Then you just do mu just equivalent to mean. Mu means parameter, mean means sample. Mu means 6% in case of fruit seller, or mean means 5% in case of fruit seller. So 6% equal to 5%, or mean is equal to just equivalent to the symbolic form of the null hypothesis. And the second point, when a parameter is given, then you write down. If the parameter is not given, suppose that parameter is not given, but if you want to test the significance, the difference between the statistical parameter or between the two sample statistics, then we set up null hypothesis. Difference is not significant if parameter is there, or if parameter is not there, then we will estimate the parameter on the basis of sample. So parameter is not given, then we make an estimation. So all these points about the hypothesis. But here one most important point is that whenever research is being made, first of all your hypothesis will be developed, or hypothesis just like a tentative supposition hai, or when hypothesis is tested and verified and found to be true, then hypothesis becomes the theory. हम बुक्स में जो पढ़ते हैं वो कहां से आता है? वो इट इज आउटकम ऑफ रिसर्च। तो हाइपोथेसिस डेवलप करें, और व्हेन हाइपोथेसिस टेस्टेड एंड वेरीफाइड फाउंड टू बी ट्रू, इट बिकम्स थ्योरी, वो थ्योरी बन जाती है। एंड व्हेन थ्योरी वर्क्स सैटिस्फैक्टरी इन रियल लाइफ सिचुएशन, जो हाइपोथेसिस हमने डेवलप की, टेस्टेड की, then become the theory. Now theory is working in the real life situation and it generally accepted. Then the person is accepted, the theory becomes law. Now as a law becomes familiar or well known to people, it exists, does not remain in doubt. That means law is perfect, then law becomes the fact. So this is the journey of hypothesis. To become a fact, we are starting from hypothesis. Hypothesis converted into theory, theory converted into law, and then it comes to the fact. Okay. Comes the main point. While testing the hypothesis, there are two important errors are there. Right? Errors in hypothesis testing. That's a very important point. While you are making the hypothesis, I think now it's clear what is the null hypothesis and what is the alternate hypothesis. It is clear. Now comes to the point. While testing the hypothesis, there are two types of errors are there. You just see, my PPT is visible, errors in hypothesis testing?
Yes, sir, it is visible, sir.
Okay. Suppose that the null hypothesis is true and you are accepting it. It is a correct decision. First, you see the technical form, then I will explain in very simple example. The null hypothesis is true, but while doing the research, you commit and you are accepted, that means your decision is correct. But the null hypothesis is true, but you reject it, it commit the error. This error is known as first type of error. And null hypothesis is false, but you accept it. Again, there is error, that second type of error. And if the false and reject, the correct decision is there. You just see that your null hypothesis true and you are accepting, correct decision. Null hypothesis and you are rejecting it, it is a correct decision, there is no problem. But the problem occurred when null hypothesis is true but rejected, or null hypothesis is false but accepted. There are two types of errors are committing during the testing the hypothesis. Now, in your mind, question is arise, how it is committed. Research to make around, I am doing the research, how this error is committed. I am going to explain it, how the error should be committed. But first to clear about the first and second time. So in order to identify which error is true and reject, which error is false to accept. In order to identify, we are placing type 1 error and type 2 error. Type 1